Hi everyone, it's Sean from What Up. Welcome back to another video, and today we're talking Wheel of Time Season 3 news. There's been a ton of stuff in social media and articles the last couple of weeks that I want to discuss in tonight's video prior to Wheel of Time Wednesday. Yes, that is tomorrow. We are getting another release from the production team. Can't tell you what it is because I have no bloody idea, but I am excited, and I will talk about it tomorrow night in a video. So let's get this stuff out of the way tonight so we start with a fresh, clean slate tomorrow, because I really suspect soon I'll be making a ton of videos about all brand new content all the time. So, if you love Wheel of Time, if you are excited about Season 3 of the show that comes out March 13th, or even if you're just curious and didn't like the show but you still like kind of keeping up in the news, consider making us your home for Wheel of Time news, folks. Subscribe to the channel, like the video, and of course, tell 2 of your friends. I mean, I am trying to hit 25,000 subscribers prior to the release of Season 3, and I think we can do it. I really can. You guys have been really, pushing the channel hard, and there has been a ton of new faces in the comments and a ton of new subscribers last little bit, and I want to thank you so much for that. All right, so before we jump into the news here, I'm going to give my handy-dandy spoiler warning. Very light spoilers this video. Very, very light spoilers. Possibly spoilers up to Book 5, The Fires of Heaven by Robert Jordan. That's the Wheel of Time series. But we're not ruining plot points or character arcs. I'm going to talk about some things in a very general sense. You'll hear some character names, maybe a few tidbits here and there, but it won't really ruin the enjoyment of the series. But I always give the spoiler warning anyway. So we're going to dive into the news here, and then when the news is done, we'll talk just a bit about some things that are going on in the channel and in the fandom, and JordanCon. We're going to talk about that too. Yeah, I'm pretty excited about that. So, first bit of news we're going to talk about here are a couple of posts by Sharon Gilham. She's the costume designer for the Wheel of Time, and she's absolutely wonderful. I don't know how and why she hasn't won an award yet, folks. It's kind of criminal. Her costumes are beautiful. The attention to detail is amazing. Her team just creates everything with a sense of love and passion, and I mean, the show is gorgeous, and in no small part to the efforts of Sharon Gilham and her team. She deserves all of the awards, and she's fantastic, and she interacts with the fandom online, so if you comment on some of her posts, she will comment back. She will reply to your questions and answers. She does interact with the fandom online, which is also something nice to see, and she seems to be a real true fan of the Wheel of Time, which is a great thing. So this first post comes to us from her, and it is a picture that was already released by Sony and Amazon. Now, this picture showcases Egwene and Rand laying on a bunch of rugs and pillows on the floor, and a lot of people speculated that it was an Aiel tent, because the way Egwene is dressed, it kind of looks like something a Wise One's apprentice would wear, and the pillows kind of seem to be a dead giveaway for people who know a lot about the waste, because that's what they sit on in these tents. They sit on pillows and rugs. No chairs to be seen anywhere. So all that was kind of speculated on the fandom, but when she released this, she had a couple of hashtags. Now, the third hashtag I don't have here. I should have clicked the more button before I took a screenshot. I'm terrible at this stuff, folks. I'm sorry. But it's hashtag Egwene, hashtag Tel'aran'rhiod, and hashtag Aiel. So the Aiel puts that to rest. This is likely an Aiel shot. But the Tel'aran'rhiod hashtag is what's more interesting here, at least to me anyway, because it does indicate, or at least suggest, that this is a photo of a scene from Tel'aran'rhiod, the World of Dreams. So this does not necessarily appear in the main canon of the show. And by main canon, I mean in the real world where things are happening. So things that happen within Tel'aran'rhiod can seem very real to the people involved, and they get hurt, they can die, they can get involved, but it doesn't really affect the real world too much unless they themselves are hurt. So if she's in a tent with Rand, she's not really in the tent with Rand, she's asleep in the World of Dreams. Which gives way to the question. We know in the books that starting in about The Dragon Reborn and further on, the World of Dreams becomes incredibly important. And in fact, it's featured heavily in a lot of the books. This gives Amazon and Sony a ton of license to do all kinds of crazy shit. They really can. They can do whatever they want in the World of Dreams because it's the World of Dreams. So Amazon really likes twists. They really like their little surprises and mysteries. I'm wondering how many of those we'll get in Season 3. Now, I don't want it to be overused, but I do want to be surprised a couple of times. I think it would be really interesting. So there's that. All right, next is this post, also by Sharon Gilham, and it's about Moiraine. Now, in the last couple of seasons, Moiraine has had pretty standard costumes. Her normal blue dress with her blue pauldrons. I mean, they look amazing, but she hasn't had too many costume changes. She's been in mostly the same clothes most of the time. A few changes in Season 1, a few changes in Season 2. This post says that she's going to see 12 costume changes for Season 3, which I mean, if you're a Robert Jordan fan, you gotta love clothes, folks. I mean, he describes them for pages and pages and pages and pages, which is why I think Sharon Gilham is such a good pick for the show because of her attention to detail. And if we're getting 12 different costume changes from Moiraine, that's a lot of stuff for the fandom to kind of salivate over and really break down. I, for one, am excited to see what she's going to be in, especially when she goes to the Aiel Waste. We've seen some of that in the teaser trailer already, and I'm pretty excited about that. All right, next up we're going to talk about this. The press junket, folks, has happened. It did. It's come and gone. Nothing is released yet. If you haven't noticed, there hasn't been any interviews from the cast out there yet because it's still under embargo. That'll happen sometime later this month. So we know that this happened, and I've had a ton of questions. Did it happen? Were there interviews? When will we see them? Did you get to interview the cast? Well, I can tell you that, yes, I was part of this press junket, which I was pleasantly surprised to be invited to this year. Pretty excited about that. Got to interview a few of the cast, and I will be able to release those things later on this month. So, if you're excited about that, I mean, I was at the press junket, like, with real reporters, like real journalists, folks, and then little old me who runs this little fan YouTube channel as a hobby. So I thought it was pretty amazing, and it was so far the defining moment of my channel just because of how cool it was. Either way, you get to see that stuff soon. I suspect that very, very soon, we're talking within the next couple of weeks, we're going to get a ton of Wheel of Time stuff. And I don't know if I'll be able to keep up here on the channel without doing a video every day. I know I'm doing about 1, maybe 2 a week right now. It's going to ramp right up, folks. You're going to see a ton of content from me soon because if there's stuff to talk about, I like to talk, and I'm going to be here doing it. So anyway, watch for those press junket interviews from not just me, but from everyone later on this month. Now we're going to talk about this. We talk a lot about the fandom and about how obsessive we are, and it's totally true. We comb through social media, we watch things, we interact, we talk, and it's not unusual for someone in the fandom or multiple in the fandom to pick up on stuff like this. So sometimes things get posted online that are in error or a mistake, and it's part of the reason why myself here at What Up and What Series is so successful is because we get to pick up on some of these things or people tell us about them, and we can put 2 and 2 together and we talk about leaks. So this was a comment on a post by Bjorn Landberg. Now Bjorn Landberg's playing Rourke in season 3 of the show. He's a clan chief, the clan chief as far as I'm concerned, and he has 2 wives in the novels, and Nicole Sherwin posted on this. Nicole is a professional dancer and actress, which is an important thing here, and they follow each other on social media. Plus, Nicole follows a bunch of the other cast, and some of the cast follows her, which is usually a pretty big dead giveaway that they're part of the show. And she posted, "Wonderful working with you, my film husband." I looked. They did not work together in any other project that I was aware of. It doesn't mean that I missed something, but I'm pretty sure they didn't. So Malkier Talks has put this out here. Is Nicole or Amis in hiding? Now, I can't tell you if she's what role she's playing, or even if she's involved in season 3 at all. I can tell you she's not Amis. We'll leave it at that, folks. But this is Nicole here. Nicole has been an actress since 1993. She studied at the prestigious Lane Theatre Arts Academy for Performing Arts. She's also a professional dancer, and she's been in a ton of different things. You may recognize her from Homeland, where she played a nurse in a couple of episodes. She's done a lot of other television and television movies. She did a few movies that you may be aware of, such as The Da Vinci Treasure, but she's been in a lot of different things. And so her posting this on Bjorn Landberg's Instagram post just puts the whole fandom in a frenzy. Of course, they're all over this, and they're wondering. I'm here to tell you she's not Amis. That's all I'll say, folks. Nicole Sherwin, everybody. All right. I had to include this in my video because Lord Matt Coughlin is a staple of Twitter of Time. Yes, we still call it Twitter of Time, even though it's X. And posts a ton on Facebook and other social media platforms. He always has the best memes, the best comments, and he posts pretty much in character as Matt. But this, I thought it was pretty funny, and I thought it was included. A few folks couldn't place Bjorn Landberg in your head because we talked about him a couple of episodes ago. What better way to show you a meme of him? I mean, it's fantastic. Now, we're talking about this. This final thing we'll talk about as far as news goes, and then we'll talk about a few other things after this that aren't really news related. But this comes to us from Deadline, and I've left the article in the description box down below if you folks want to read it. But realistically, the whole article boils down to cable TV and streaming services views across the board are down. And they're starting to learn some lessons from that. They want to do more episodes quicker rather than less episodes slower, and it seems to help. But this says that season 2 of The Rings of Power was down 60% in views compared to season 1. Now, there are a ton of reasons and theories as to why this is, and it's the same for any show that's out there. But here's my take on it. If you talk to a hardcore Tolkien fan, they'll tell you it's because it's not canon. They destroyed the story. They'll tell you all the same things you hear about the Wheel of Time, which, I mean, they're entitled to their opinion. I don't believe that's the case. If you talk to a casual Tolkien fan, they'll give you something completely different. If you talk to just a casual TV show fan, they'll tell you something completely different. My take on this is this. I've read the Lord of the Rings series a few times. The last one was in high school, so we're talking, oh, wow, 25 years ago, folks. It's a long time. But I've watched Peter Jackson movies a ton, and I love them. I love the movies. I love the concept of Lord of the Rings. I enjoyed the books. But I am not a super fan by any stretch of the imagination. I don't have Lord of the Rings crap all over my house. I have Wheel of Time stuff all over my house, but I don't have Lord of the Rings stuff everywhere. Don't have any Lord of the Rings tattoos. I have a ton of Wheel of Time tattoos. So, see the difference here? I'm a Wheel of Time super fan. I am a casual Lord of the Rings fan. I was on the after show for the first season of Rings of Power. Didn't get really invited back for the second season because, well, although I thought the first season was okay, it was not great. It didn't stretch out or kind of strike me as the best show ever, as it did to some people, and some people really enjoyed the show. So as a sort of a casual fan of the first season, that 2-year wait in between it killed it for me. I will totally admit that, yes, I did go back and watch some of the second season months after release, just because I was bored one night, but I only made 3 episodes in, and I was just like, it's not for me. And the reason is that 2-year gap destroyed any interest I had in it. I'm not a super fan, so I didn't follow the news. I didn't follow any of the releases. I didn't follow anything that was going on. I didn't even know when it came out. And there was a marketing campaign, folks, but because I wasn't a super fan, I was not paying attention to it because it wasn't as far and wide-reaching as you would expect. And when the second season came out and I found out about it, I didn't jump at the chance to watch it because, let's face it was 2 years. I couldn't remember what happened. I didn't like the show enough to rewatch the first season again. So I think that a large portion of viewers of different genres and shows on streaming services fall into that sort of casual fan. They're not super fans. They don't eat, live, and breathe for the shows. Some people do. They don't hate the shows, but they watch them because they like them, and they're like, yeah, it's a good show. But they're probably like me in the fact they don't want to rewatch an entire season to figure out what in the name of light is going on. They don't want to try to remember things that are going on. And when they start to watch the second season after so long, it just doesn't catch them because there's no urgency there to continue watching it. So my take on this, and this is purely anecdotal and purely my own opinion, is that the 2-year time frame between seasons is a killer to a lot of TV shows. And we've seen it on Netflix, we've seen it on Amazon, we've seen it on Disney+. A lot of very, very popular shows that did very well initially, viewership just tanks for seasons afterwards, and then they cancel the show. I think that has a lot to do with the fact that a lot of streaming services want to be pigeonholed into a limited number of episodes per season, a limited time frame for those episodes, and great time lengths between them. And those are all terrible things for people of a certain age, and that certain age is my age, because we grew up on TV that had 24, 30, 35, 40 episodes per season. Can you do an epic fantasy show like Lord of the Rings? Or, let's segue this to the Wheel of Time. Can you do it with that many episodes per season? You sure can. Will it look as slick and look as nice? And will it have as many locations? No, it won't. You'd have something more akin to maybe The Princess Bride, or Hercules, or Xena. And I'm okay with that. I would rather a storyline and character development heavy fantasy show than all spectacle. Maybe a spectacle once in a blue moon. Do you know what I mean? But that's just me. I grew up on that type of TV, and I think a lot of people my age are the ones that are excited about some of these shows, and then they just kind of they let it drop off because it's too short. So in a roundabout way, what I'm getting to is the Wheel of Time, I think, also suffers from the same thing. Too long between seasons, too short of seasons, too little time given to the show. 8 hours per season is not enough. 2 years between seasons is not enough. Now, don't get me wrong. We're at way less than 2 years for the third season to come out, which I think means that perhaps Sony and Amazon have learned some lessons. And I, for one, have already seen a great uptick in marketing, a great uptick in the attention they're giving the show. But I'm a super fan, and I'm following this very closely, and my nose is pressed close to anything Wheel of Time related. So I'm going to notice those things. But I can say that people that didn't know the show existed in season 1 and season 2 are seeing stuff about season 3. So I think the marketing team is doing a much better job this time around. The quicker turnaround is also going to help. And I think we're going to see a much better turnout for viewership for season 3 because of those two things. And because of the quality of season 3 so much higher, let me tell you folks, if you hated the show in season 1 and season 2, and I know a lot of you out there either hated it or didn't like it or kind of on the fence about it, season 3 is going to bring you back. Season 3, from everything that I've seen, is going to reinvigorate the fandom and bring a lot of people who didn't enjoy the show back. 100%. Yeah, so that's all the news. Now I'll talk about a couple of other things here as we go through, so I'm going to get rid of this stuff. First thing I'll talk about is selective memory, folks. I had a few recent comments on the channel about certain things. I mentioned a couple of things about the show and my videos. Of course I do. I talk about the Wheel of Time all the time. And then people like to debate me in the comments about things. I understand why. People like to argue on the internet. That's just the way things are. But I realized something. I stopped a long time ago arguing with people in the comments about certain things because people just want to vent, and it's not my place to try to correct them. People can feel the way they feel. However, I've noticed kind of an interesting trend for people who really dislike the show, that tend to comment on my videos or comment on my social media posts about it, and they want to give the reasons why they don't like it. A lot of times they are fully misremembering the books. For example, a recent comment that I had talked about a big moment being taken from Rand in season 2 where he did not get to rescue Egwene from the kennels. Folks, Rand never rescues Egwene from the kennels. It was Nynaeve. You could argue 100% that Nynaeve didn't have that moment because Egwene rescued herself. However, that wasn't the argument being made. And so I started thinking, and I started going back through a lot of these comments and finding out that, yes, sometimes people are very upset about things that are happening in the show, and they're misremembering things. And sometimes the things are so strange. A hat, for example. Moiraine wearing a certain hat. She would never do that. Why would Moiraine wear the hat? Well, if you go to the passages in the books, the hat is described exactly as that Moiraine is wearing. Do you know what I mean? It's just things like that. So I guess what I'm trying to get around to with this is that if you dislike the show, dislike it for whatever reasons, but maybe, just maybe, some of the things you remember from reading the books 20 years ago, 30 years ago, however long it was, even 5 years ago, may not be 100% fully accurate or correct. And just think about that before you start posting stuff, because it's easier to have a discussion with somebody when they have their facts straight than it is if they just make stuff up. So there's that. All right, so we're going to talk about the next little bit of the channel. So I've said this for a while now that we're probably going to see a very, very large uptick in Wheel of Time content coming out because the marketing campaign, it's kind of kicked off, folks. Don't get me wrong. We've gotten stuff every Wednesday. We're getting a whole bunch of things, but we haven't seen that big blitz. Amazon normally does the huge blitz of marketing about a month, 30 days out from the show release. That's like less than 2 weeks away, folks. So I'm guessing that we're going to see a massive uptick in marketing, a massive uptick in releases, including all the press junket stuff, within the next few weeks, which means you're going to start seeing videos from me all of the time. I know I do about 1 to 2 a week right now, and I've mentioned it before. When the show drops, there's going to be far more. You're going to see at least 1 a day, sometimes 2 a day when the show drops, because there's so much to talk about. My reviews, my Easter egg videos, my breakdowns, my what's coming up next, my clues, my theories, all that stuff comes out. But with all the marketing coming out, I'm going to have a ton of content to talk about that too. And I, for one, am very excited. So again, if you haven't already subscribed and you're interested about this stuff, I'm going to draw it all in one place. We'll have it all here, folks. We'll talk about it all. Things that come out Wheel of Time related, we're going to have it on the channel. You won't have to go searching for it. I will just spoon feed it to you, folks, because I enjoy doing that. I enjoy the Wheel of Time. So there's that. All right. So the last thing I want to talk about tonight, folks, is JordanCon. JordanCon comes in April 23rd, I believe. 23rd, 24th, somewhere around there. I have to look at the calendar. Actually, let's do that now. I don't want to give you the wrong dates. So April. Yeah, so it starts on the 25th, which is a Friday, and ends on the 27th, which is a Sunday. And I mean, there's stuff happens the 24th, Thursday, and stuff happens on the Monday as well. There's all kinds of things that go on there. But this is the very first year that I am able to go to JordanCon. So I and my wife will be heading down to Atlanta in April. We are staying in the hotel that the con's in. Plane tickets are booked, hotels booked. I have a bunch of swag to give away already done, so I have a bunch of stickers, things that I can travel with, of course. So stickers, ribbons. Ribbons are a big thing at JordanCon. Everybody passes out ribbons. I have a ton of ribbons. So if any of you folks out there are going to JordanCon, I've never been. I've been asking everyone what to expect, and I really don't know. I'm a little nervous, to be honest, because and this is another confession, I've never been to a con, ever. Any con at all. I live in Atlantic Canada. We have smaller cons here. I don't go to those because they're incredibly busy, and there's smaller cons that don't really have things that draw my attention. This is a Wheel of Time convention. It's the original Wheel of Time convention. It's JordanCon. It's a big deal. A lot of people go. I'm nervous as all get out. So let me know in the comments down below, what should I expect? For those of you who've gone, what should I look out for? What should I prepare for? And what should I do while I'm there? So there's all that. I'm pretty excited, and if any of you are going and you want to see me while I'm there, I'll be stopping to talk to anybody and everybody, just because if you're a Wheel of Time fan, I'm super pumped to talk to you. So anyway, let me know down below in the comments if you've been there and what to expect, because I, for one, am pretty excited about it. Anyway, thank you so much for sticking with me here to the very end, folks. Here's to many more.